Rev your engines and fasten your seatbelts. It's time for Thunder Talk with Dan Bailey, keeping you up to date on everything going on this season at Mississippi Thunder Speedway. Thunder Talk is powered by Arcadia Chrysler, Dodge, Jeep, and Ram. Now, here's your host, Dan Bailey.
Hey race fans, welcome back to another edition of Thunder Talk on the WINONA Sports Network, 99.3 FM. I'm Dan Bailey. We are getting ready for another great night of racing action at Mississippi Thunder Speedway. We have struggled, let's be honest. We've struggled this year with Mother Nature. We were able to have 3 great nights of fun with the World of Outlaws Case Construction Late Models and the United States Modified Touring Series event back at the beginning of May. But every other night we've tried to get on the track, Mother Nature has spoiled our fun, including last week. But hopefully, tonight we will be racing. It is Coca-Cola Driver Appreciation Night at Mississippi Thunder Speedway, which would be a great way to finally get this 2022 season started. Great news for you race fans is that it is another MTS Free County Fans Night. If you reside in either Buffalo County, Wisconsin, Olmsted County, Minnesota, or Clayton County, Iowa, all you need to do is bring proof of residence, your driver's license, for example, and that will get you into the grandstands absolutely free, give you an opportunity to enjoy some great racing at Mississippi Thunder Speedway during the Coca-Cola Driver Appreciation Night. For those of you who are tuning in via the Mississippi Thunder Speedway YouTube channel, make sure that you subscribe to the channel, like this video, share it with your friends, and don't forget to click that bell so you can get updates when new content comes online. All right, Coca-Cola Driver Appreciation Night tonight at Mississippi Thunder Speedway, and one of those drivers who's going to be hitting the high banks this evening is joining us on Thunder Talk this week. Kory Ressie, driver of the number 208 in the USRA Late Model division, is joining us. Kory, welcome to this week's edition of Thunder Talk. Thanks for joining us.
Yeah, thanks for having me, Dan.
First question right off the bat, 208. You don't see too many 3-digit race cars anymore. What's the story behind the 208 number?
Well, I've always liked the 3-digit number on the race car, and it actually stems back to when I used to race motocross. That was my number back then, so I just carried it on over when I decided to get into dirt track.
So I know we're talking stock car racing at Mississippi Thunder Speedway, but give us the background on your two-wheeled exploits. When did that start? How long did you do it? What sort of success did you enjoy there?
Oh, we probably raced for 5, 6, 7 years. We went through 125s, then we jumped up to 250s, and then we ended up with a 450 when we finally got all done with it. And we were just racing C-class for the most part, just having fun, amateur. Quit doing it after bounce off the dirt anymore.
The old saying is, with age comes a cage. So you made the transition to stock car racing. Tell us how that transition came about, making the decision to go stock car racing and your first few forays into the sport.
We actually started off in the XL 600 mods the first couple years, and then we were just getting the hang of that, and then the class went away at MTS, so then we decided to try the USRA Limited Late Models out. We're glad we did. We really enjoy the class, and it's fun.
So was it the simple fact that the 600 mods were powered by motorcycle engines that allowed you to kind of make that mental connection and make the decision to move from the two-wheeled motocross world to the four-wheeled racing world?
I think for the most part of it, I talked to some of the people in the class, and, there wasn't too much work with them, and I didn't have a great knowledge of racing before this, so I figured that would be a good stepping stone into the racing part of it.
And how many years behind the wheel of the 600 mod?
About 2.5 years.
So 2022 is going to be year number 4 behind the wheel of a USRA late model?
Yeah, the first couple of years, we missed quite a few races just getting the car dialed in and put together. And last year was pretty much the first full season we raced without missing any races for the most part. We're pretty excited for this upcoming season.
So I can imagine that the transition from motocross to the 600 mods and then the transition from the 600 mods to the USRA late models must have brought with it just a huge learning curve. Was it overwhelming at times, or did a lot of it seem to click in your mind when you were trying to make those transitions?
It was very overwhelming at first, but there's a lot of good people in the 600 mods that helped me out along the way, and then same with this USRA late models. I mean, everybody in class helps everybody. I mean, I didn't know anything when it came to these cars, and I mean, I'm still learning every time I go out on the track, obviously. And the 11, the 17, the 24, all those guys, they help a ton.
I remember back in early April when the Mississippi Thunder Speedway had an open practice night, and in the pits, almost all of the USRA late models were kind of congregated together, parked right next to each other, and I witnessed exactly what you were just saying. A lot of the drivers or crew members were kind of going back and forth from cars to cars, not necessarily that they were giving away their great secrets, but they're there to help to make it enjoyable for everybody. It seems like there's a pretty good camaraderie that's been built up in this USRA late model division, at least at Mississippi Thunder Speedway.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, everybody we race against, we're all pretty good buddies. Like, we're texting and calling normally. I mean, if anybody has a problem, everybody is willing to lend a hand to get it figured out or lend parts, whatever you need to get the car on the track and handling well.
So you've been behind the wheel of the late model for several years, but I think you would agree with me when I say the 2021 season could be called your breakout season, because not only did you enjoy a great run in the point standings, coming away with a top 3 finish at Mississippi Thunder Speedway, but you also made that very first trip to Victory Lane. Was that like a surreal moment when you pulled that 208 into Victory Lane for the first time last year?
Yeah, it was very surreal. I almost had to ask someone how to even get up there.
What do you remember from that night, from the heat race into the feature and battling through that feature to get that feature win?
I mean, tell you the truth, we weren't even sure if we were going to make it out for the feature that night, because we shucked the radiator, and the 39 car, he broke, so he ended up taking the radiator out of his car and giving it to us so we could actually go out and race the feature. And tell you the truth, the last 5 laps, I don't even really remember. I was holding my breath, I think, most part, waiting for the checkered flag.
So that just goes to show what you had mentioned earlier, how other drivers are ready to help out. A competitor who would have been battling you for position on the track from the same division, the USRA Late Model division, breaks down, you break down, and they end up giving you parts to get you back on the track that night. And lo and behold, that's the evening that you burst into Victory Lane. So that's kind of a cool story. That's the way the whole division is at MTS, isn't it?
Yep, definitely is.
So the 2021 season, in addition to that feature win, brought about some really strong runs for you. I mean, out of 11 official features at Mississippi Thunder Speedway, 10 of those for you, top 10 finishes, 7 top 5s, one of which obviously was that feature win. So was there a drastic change for you coming into the 2021 season that made last year so successful, or has it been gradual improvements through your 4 years behind the wheel of a late model?
Yeah, I think I was just getting comfortable in the car and getting used to the car and getting a feel for it. And I got a couple great pit guys that have been around racing for a long time. They used to actually pit for Gary Wascala back in the day, so they got some good knowledge on racing. They helped me out a ton.
In addition to the guys who help you out in the pits or back at the shop, I'm sure you also have a great group of supporters and sponsors who are helping out with the 208.
Oh yeah, yep. I'd like to thank Roadhouse Bar and Grill, Great River Organic Milling, Riverland Trucking, Tell Bar and Grill, River Valley Construction, Trade Tools Incorporated, Georgia's Lounge, Bolin Trucking, High Time Addiction, Krause Excavating and Trucking, Domain Food Plots, Meridian Blue Construction, R&T Fireworks, and last but not least, my wife's debit card.
The number one sponsor right there, huh?
He just doesn't know it.
I love it. That's a good one. So let's talk about 2022, coming off what I'm assuming you would agree with me was a very successful 2021 for you. I mean, when you look back on 21, are you pleased as punch with the way that year went for you?
Yeah, I was very pleased.
So looking into 2022, what sort of goals do you have set up for this year? What in your mind would make this a satisfying and successful season for you?
You know, my goals are just to, race clean and keep the car in good shape and hopefully stay in the top 5 is one of my main goals. And if we can pull out a victory here and there, that's going to be a bonus for us.
Any big changes for you, chassis-wise, engine-wise, coming into 2022?
Yeah, we ended up getting a newer MB Customs chassis this year. We got rid of our old car. We have a stolen power plant in that. So last Saturday was our first debut with it out at Cedar Lake Speedway. We ended up getting a top 5 out of it, so we were pretty pretty pleased with being in the car the first time, and all we need to do is draw a little better.
Did it feel, strapping into this new race car to you, did it feel like a big change from last year's machine, or were you able to transfer over a lot of your setup notes that you'd accumulated through the first few seasons behind the wheel?
Yeah, it feels a lot better. I mean, obviously we're running on a lot better shocks this year. They changed our shock program, so the shocks we were running last year in the class weren't the greatest, and these ones are quite a bit different, a lot better. So we're hoping to have a good handle in the car this year.
Now, I've got to ask you, let's talk about the elephant in the room here, and that is Lance Hofer. He has got this division in a stranglehold. He's such a great driver. He's got that late model number 11 of his figured out. What do you feel like it's going to take for you or anybody to move him out of that number one spot in the point standings at Mississippi Thunder Speedway?
Well, I think we're all going to just lock him in his trailer before he comes out. He's fast. He's definitely fast. He knows what he's doing. But, I mean, Lance and LeDuc, they're both fast. They're going to be hard to beat this year, obviously. Lance has won 2 races already, and LeDuc, he's been knocking on the door pretty much every race. So we definitely have our work cut out for us.
Well, Kory, tonight would be a night to have a great opener at Mississippi Thunder Speedway for you in the USRA Late Model Division. As I mentioned, it's Coca-Cola Driver Appreciation Night. We wish you the best of luck this evening, and as always, as I say to all the drivers, I wish you the best of luck through this entire 2022 season. And thank you, Kory Ressie, for joining us on this week's edition of Thunder Talk.
Yeah, thank you for having me, Dan.
Hey, race fans, don't forget tonight, Coca-Cola Driver Appreciation Night at Mississippi Thunder Speedway. Some extra money being thrown at the competitors this evening. On the track, hitting the high banks, will be the River City Manufacturing USRA Modifieds, the Buffalo Saloon USRA Late Models, presented by Centerville Welding and Repair, Black Horse Bar and Grill USRA B Mods, and the Horman's HVAC USRA Hobby Stocks. As I had mentioned earlier, it is also a MTS Free County Fans Night. If you're a resident from Buffalo County, Wisconsin, Olmsted County, Minnesota, or Clayton County, Iowa, bring some sort of proof of residence. Your driver's license would work great, and you will be welcomed into the grandstand absolutely free. Bring the kids along, because the MTS Kids Club is going to be in full action this evening, giving the youngsters an opportunity to have some fun with bus rides, coloring contests, driver frisbees, driver bingo, etc. The MTS Kids Club is absolutely free for young race fans and gives them an opportunity to have some fun at the track as well. Kory Ressie and his 208 will be hitting the high banks along with all those other race car drivers at Mississippi Thunder Speedway, and we hope to see you at MTS tonight.
That was Thunder Talk, keeping you up to date on everything going on at Mississippi Thunder Speedway. Thunder Talk is powered by Arcadia Chrysler, Dodge, Jeep, and Ram.
You ever notice that when you're on a fishing trip, you drive your boat all the way to the other side of the lake because you think that's where the best fishing is? And the people staying at the cabins on that side of the lake, well, they come and fish where your cabin is. You don't have to drive a long ways to catch the big fish. And at Arcadia Motors, you don't have to drive a long ways to get the best deal on a new Chrysler, Dodge, Jeep, or Ram truck. The best deals are right in the bay next to your cabin. Take the short, scenic drive to Arcadia Motors. ArcadiaDodge.com.